Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Monday Morning Tennis Rant, where I talk about what happened in the tennis world in the previous week. And before we get started, I want to tell you about an update on the Intuitive Tennis YouTube channel. So from now on, the Monday Morning Tennis Rant will be on the main channel at Intuitive Tennis. On Wednesday, it's going to be a video upload, and on Friday. So before it was Tuesday and Friday, now it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I just wanted to update you guys on that. If you haven't subscribed to Intuitive Tennis, go ahead and do so, and don't forget to like this video. Now listen, I'm super impressed by Holger Rune. When I watch him play, I think to myself, how can somebody hit the ball that hard? He's the hardest ball striker I think I've ever seen. He's also very athletic, so the potential is absolutely there. We can all see it. He's a phenomenal player. He showed it when he won the Paris Masters last year and he beat Djokovic. But there's a lot of immaturity in his game. For example, when he played in Indian Wells against Wawrinka, and deep in the third set, he was serving, he was up 40-30, and he made three ridiculous unforced errors with really bad shot selection. And very similar in Miami against Fritz, he was hitting very poor quality shots. So the fact that he is a phenomenal ball striker, he does have a lot of potential, but there's a lot of immaturity in his game, and there needs to be a change made. He needs to start playing a lot smarter. Shot selection is something that not only you guys at the recreational level struggle with, but this is something that all high-level players and even elite-level players struggle with. Let me give you an example. There are going to be circumstances on the court where if you go for a low percentage target, if you hit the ball too hard, the chances of you committing a mistake are very high. And take a look at a player like Alcaraz. He rarely goes for these type of low percentage shots, and it's for that reason that Alcaraz is ranked number 1 in the world and Holger Rune is ranked far behind that. And yes, a lot of these young guys, Sinner, Rune, and Alcaraz, have a ton of power, but you can see differences in consistency within the three. The player that's by far the best from the young generation is Carlos Alcaraz, and I'm the last person that's going to jump on the hype train, but I can tell you that when it comes to Alcaraz, I can see him winning more than 10 slams. I can see him being considered one of the greatest players to ever play the game. When I hear legends of the game talk about him, they say things like that they have never seen a player that complete at that young of an age, and I agree. There's absolutely no holes in Alcaraz's game. He's the complete package. He's got the power, he's got the control. He also has the variety, which is going to be something that's going to be super exciting to watch on clay, for example, and I think that he has good chances to do well on grass. So even though Alcaraz lost to Sinner in Miami, I'm going to put him above the rest of the next gen by a lot. And now let's talk about the guy that's currently on complete fire, and that's Medvedev. He won 4 out of the last 5 tournaments he played. Easily the best player in the world right now. Even though Alcaraz, I feel like if both of these guys play their best, I'd probably pick Alcaraz over him. It kind of depends on the surface as well. The slower the surface, the more chances I give Alcaraz. But right now, based on the last few months, Medvedev is by far the best player in the world. It's going to be super interesting to see, however, how he can transition to the clay court season, because clay is his least favorite surface. He likes hard courts the most, so let's see what happens in the next few weeks. And one more thing about Sinner, who had a fantastic tournament in Miami, beat Alcaraz, lost in the final. If you compare Sinner's final against and the final against Medvedev, you're going to see the difference in level. Sinner has gotten a lot better. His service better, he's hitting the ball harder. He's also using a lot better shot selection. Sinner, a few years back, kind of played like Rune. He was making a lot of questionable choices on the court, and now you're seeing that less and less. So he's improved a lot, and it's only a matter of time until he's going to start winning some of these big titles. Now, some of you guys who are hardcore intuitive tennis fans know that I'm a big fan of WTA, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of a backstory on that. I wasn't really a big WTA fan before my daughter started playing tennis. So my daughter played competitively for 6 years. We trained every day. And during that time is when I really started to study the WTA. I started examining the best WTA players, and I discovered a lot of very interesting things during that time. And I developed quite a liking for the WTA because it is a different type of game than the ATP. And the week in Miami was an example of that. Petra Kvitova, who is one of my all-time favorite players on WTA, won the title by playing tennis that resembles more of a classical game style, something that is going to be difficult to see on the ATP Tour, but on the WTA Tour there is still room for different game styles. So let me explain Petra's game style in a little more detail. So the serve, in my opinion, one of the greatest of all time. That's not why she plays different. From the baseline, if you take a look at her forehand and her backhand, the strokes are extremely flat. The swing path is more horizontal. If you take a close look at the tip of her racket on the forehand, it points forward. This is something you don't see on the ATP Tour anymore. Everybody hits with heavy topspin. She, however, hits the ball with more of a flat topspin trajectory. Also, she is a power player. She will go for the winners very often because one of her weaknesses is movement. She's not the greatest mover compared to some of the other players in the top 10 on the WTA, but she figures out a way to win despite her deficiencies in the movement part. And the thing that I love the most about Kvitova, that kind of reminds me of Sampras, is that she plays her best tennis in the most important stages of the tournament. So you will often see Petra playing poorly in the first couple of rounds, and then as the tournament progresses, when it gets to the semis and to the final, she finds her best tennis. And she can be counted as one of the greatest players in WTA history. She has 30 titles, 9 Masters titles, 2 slams. She's never been number 1 in the world. Her highest ranking was number 2. But you can regard her as one of the greatest players to ever play the game. And what I love about Kvitova is that she's a big match player. When it comes to a final, you can put your money on Petra. It doesn't matter who she's playing. And in fact, she played Rybakina, who's on absolute fire. She's definitely one of the best 3 players in the world currently. She won Indian Wells, now made another final. A lot of people were saying that Petra has no chance against Rybakina, but in the back of my mind, I thought, you know what, Petra is going to take this. I was texting with some of my friends and I was calling Kvitova to win the tournament, and I was vindicated. And on top of that, I just made a video about Sabalenka serve where I used Kvitova serve as an example of one of the greatest serves on WTA history. You can check this video out. I released this last week before anybody was expecting Kvitova to win this tournament. So thank you, Petra. I feel vindicated. And guys, let's finish off this Monday morning rant with something that's concerning me, okay? And maybe you can explain this to me because it makes absolutely no sense. Yesterday, John McEnroe, Michael Chang, Andrew Agassi, and Andy Roddick played pickleball. Now, if these guys would have played doubles, I would have watched the whole thing. Maybe I would have watched it twice because I love all those players and it would have been fun to watch them play again. And I tried to watch them play pickleball out of curiosity, and I lasted 5 minutes. Why? Because pickleball, in my opinion, okay, don't get angry, is unwatchable on TV. Yes, it might be fun to play, but it's something that you can't watch on TV. Why? Because the power is missing. It's just dinking. And if you see the legends of the tennis game play pickleball, you see that, for example, McEnroe was trying to apply power to his shots and it was missing left and right, and then everybody started dinking towards the end. The only time you see somebody rip a ball if they get a high volley. Agassi was hitting some rip swing volleys, but it's a game that's tough to watch on TV. It doesn't translate well, in my opinion, and it's hard for me to understand why pickleball and tennis are so connected to each other. Maybe you guys can explain it to me. Why is pickleball riding on tennis's coattails? For example, I have a Tennis Channel Plus subscription and I love it. I watch tennis all day, and recently there's an entire collection of pickleball tournaments right on top of my Tennis Channel Plus subscription. So maybe you guys can explain it to me. I don't get it. I don't understand why tennis and pickleball can't be separate. I don't understand the fascination with pickleball from former players. What is this all about? It can't be about money, can it? Anyways, I don't get it, guys. Maybe you can explain it to me.